Hey everybody, thanks for joining us at TDC Lounge. I'm your host, Tyson Garner. My guest today is my very, very good friend, Mr. Richard Elszy. Hello, Mr. Richard.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. So we love having you on here today. We're so excited because the producer Matt and I were speaking, and we were talking about bringing people on, that have brands, new brands, and I think your brand is really, really picking up and really getting into the dance industry. Before you speak,
Got it.
I like to take this opportunity to thank a couple people. Thanks to Joffrey School of Ballet for your continued support, and also to Tights Boutique. So, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm so excited to be here, and thank you for having me. I couldn't be more excited to be a part of Teen Dance Challenge and what you're doing. I think it's incredible. I was a judge on Teen Dance Challenge.
Totally. Yeah.
And it was such a awesome experience that when you asked me to be a part and be a contributor to the network of programming that you're offering, I was like, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't I not want to? So thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it, man. Like, you were amazing on the show. You have so much knowledge to offer. I've seen you teach for so long and seen your girls dance, and you just have enough time and effort for girls. And I find now that a lot of people don't have time for the kids. They're there to like throw choreography at them, and it's about them. But there's only a few people who really invest their time into the girls, and that's what I really wanted to, especially here on the lounge, just to chat and to talk to real people, and real people who are here to affect the community in a good way.
Thank you. I'm a real person most of the time. Most of the time. I try.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I love to teach. I've been teaching for, oh my God, like 18 years.
Wow.
And so it's such a big part of my life. It kind of has shaped my identity, and I think where I'm going as a choreographer and as a technical teacher. So I'm excited to share more about that, and I know we'll talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I met you probably 15 years ago when you danced with Casey Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I actually saw him last weekend at a wedding. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing so good. He's working with Norwegian Cruise Line as a director. He's doing amazing. He's so talented.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I was dancing for him at a convention. I think it was your convention.
It really was. Yeah.
And that was a great experience.
Yeah, it was fun.
Back when I was twirling, I was doing a batma or two.
You know how we do.
A little scorpion jump. I don't know.
So I think what would be cool is if we kind of get our fans and our listeners and our viewers to kind of get a sense of where you, like, in terms of dance, where you came from and how you got started dancing.
Okay, great. Well, I don't know if you know, but I'm from a really small town in Central California. Mm-hmm. It's called Hanford, and
P.S., a lot of dancers come from there. So I don't know what you guys put in the water there, but
they do. And it's shocking because in the whole county at the time, there was probably like 2-3 dance studios. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't start taking classes till I was 15.
Wow.
Because in that area, in a small town where there's more cows than people, boys don't dance. And so my sister got to take dance classes, and she started when she was 6 or 7, and I had to take her to class and sit and watch in the window just to kind of make sure that she was okay and she was safe and everything. And I remember watching and just falling in love with what was happening in the room and with the teacher that was teaching, and how her body looked like energy was flying out of her limbs, and how just fascinating it was what she was doing with the music. And this was like a basic baby class, basically, that my sister was in at 6 years old, in 90 something.
Right.
And so basically I just became fascinated with it, and I was afraid to ask my parents if I could dance. So I watched in the window, and I would learn the dance moves and kind of practice when nobody was watching in the viewing area. And then my sister would get her recital tapes, and I would watch the whole entire recital and learn the recital from beginning to end, beginner level to advanced, and I taught myself every single dance step from just watching them dance to "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. I'm totally dating myself right now, but that's basically how I started learning how to dance.
That's cool.
In that way, and then I wanted to get into class, but I still didn't want to ask because I had a feeling my parents would say no. So when I got into high school, I lied to my parents. Don't do this, kids.
Kids, don't lie to your parents.
Lied to my parents. So, I learned from videos for like 3-4 years, and then I lied to my parents. And when I got into high school, I told them I was signing up for a bodybuilding class, and I actually put myself into the dance class. And obviously I wasn't in bodybuilding because you can tell that didn't happen. So I put myself into a dance class, and my first dance class in high school, I knew everything. I could already do second jumps and, triple pirouettes and everything. So that's kind of how I started learning about dance.
And then how did you end up down in Orange County?
Okay, well...
California, that is.
California,
Yeah,
Orange County, California.
Yeah.
I was dancing in high school, and then eventually I went to a studio. A friend of mine actually saw me dance. He went to my high school. His name is Matt Caldwell.
Oh, I know, Matt. He's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and now he's actually one of the vice presidents at Kids Artistic Review.
He's isn't it for internet, like for Australia?
International, competition and performances.
Well,
so
first of all, CAR is like a great company to work for, but
incredible.
He's a good person to have. That like he's been our show director there a few times. He's fantastic.
He's
so
amazing.
Good.
He's so on it. He's so much fun, and he actually picked me up and took me to my first real dance class
really
at a
cool.
studio.
That's really cool.
And then I started dancing there, and my teachers were Marie and Tyler, who own a studio now in Visalia called Dancer's Edge.
Yeah, Desiree
where Desiree and Holly Groom are both from, so we have
Yeah.
that in common. And then after that, I went to UC Irvine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went to UC Irvine. I got some scholarships to go there, and I continued to train. When I first started this journey as a dancer, I was definitely more of a strong performer and a strong mover. And I was already choreographing at that time.
That's cool.
Because I just kind of threw myself into it. But I was behind, I felt technically, because I started so late.
Got it.
I didn't get to train when I was, 7 years old in basic ballet.
Did you find comfort on stage? Did you find this is where I need to be?
I knew from the first time I tried my first dance step that this is what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know how or why or what it even entailed, because I didn't know there was even a such thing as a choreographer or, I didn't know you could get paid to dance. I had no idea. I just knew I wanted to dance, and I wanted to make the magic that I felt.
Do you remember? Because I think I remember the first time I was on stage, and I felt like at home, I felt like, wow, I'm supposed to do this. And I felt, I played sports, so I had a rush playing sports, but in a different way. This rush was like, yo, I love this. I want to do this forever. I can't see myself doing anything else. I don't know if you had that same feeling, but I really, really had that feeling.
What's funny is I didn't get on stage for a long time because I was so self-trained.
Okay.
But I always tell my students this story. I would be in my room when my parents weren't there and the radio full blast, and I would pretend I was on stage with people watching in my
mind. It's like a movie, dude.
And I would choreograph my own
routines,
and every room in my house was like a different style or something. And so for me, my rush as a performer was literally performing for nobody.
I see.
And so, but when I did it, I felt like when athletes say that they get into the zone and everything goes black, that's what I felt. And so by the time I got on stage, I kind of felt like I should just do what it is I've always done on my own.
Got it. So you've spent a lot of time learning now the art of dance, like the technical side of it, which I think is kind of a dying art at this point.
Okay. Yep.
And you now have been working with Paula Morgan for how long?
Okay, so Paula Morgan, I've been working with for 12 or 13
Well, first let's go
years.
back. Let's
Yeah.
explain to everybody who she is because
Okay.
she's such a big deal, and I want to jump in and like talk all about it. But
Great.
let's figure out who she is.
Okay.
Who is she?
Well, okay, let me go back a little bit. So I went to UC Irvine, and I had some amazing teachers, and I learned a lot more about technique and ballet. And I danced for a man named Donald McHale, who, if you don't know who he is in all the dance history books. He's like a legend.
Yeah, yes, I met him before. He's fantastic.
He's amazing,
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
I learned so much from him about art and movement. And then after that, I went to Chicago, and I trained with a man named Larry Long, and he was considered to be one of the 10 ballet masters of America, and is still.
Wow.
And I kind of was on this quest to learn what I hadn't learned if I would have taken class from when I was a baby dancer, basically. And so by the time I got to LA, after dancing around a bit, I had worked professionally, but I still felt like I didn't have the tools that I felt my facility and my technique could have. I wanted better feet. I wanted better extension. I wanted to get my right and left splits because I didn't have my splits yet.
It sounds like you were like really self-motivated though too. That like very like, that's, I don't know. Is it because you started so late?
I always say I'm a workhorse. I love work, and I think I love work in dance and in the arts because to me it's not work. It's like joy. So
Totally.
I kind of find a rush in getting more information, and I love those moments when something clicks and I go, oh,
Gotcha.
wow, I get it. And so I think I'm constantly, even now, I'm on a quest to learn more.
Got it. Is that what drew you to Paula? Like, there's a picture of you guys together. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's cute.
Well, one of my old roommates in college had been a student of Paula's. His name is Eddie Mykrit, and he was a principal dancer later with Nashville Ballet.
Oh, wow.
Amazing technician, incredible dancer. And he had trained with Paula Morgan, and he took me to one of his private lessons with her.
Oh, okay.
And I remember watching her work and thinking, first of all, what is this woman doing? Because it was kind of so far over my head at that point, I really didn't know what I was seeing, but I knew it was doing something that was incredible.
Now, did she create her syllabus herself, or did she just take from people that she learned before and then kind of?
She has her own syllabus that she created, and her story is that she worked professionally since she was a kid. She even assisted Hermes Pan, if you know who that is. He was a choreographer of her era that was very famous, and she danced for various choreographers back in her era, in her day, and she felt like even though she was very successful as a dancer, that she had gotten to this point where she wanted to improve, and she didn't feel like anybody could give her the tools to help her to figure that out.
Got it.
So she went on a quest to experiment on herself what it is she could do to improve herself. And from that came her technique, which is called the Paula Morgan technique.
Yes.
And I went on this.
Does she have a website?
She does. I'm sorry. It is paulamorgandance.com.
Yes.
If you want to learn more about it, it's incredible. Check it out. Your mind will be blown
Yeah, there
from
it is
what
right
you
there, yeah.
see.
And then if you guys would like, you can go in the description below and look at that. I think everybody should take a look at that.
It is worth
genius.
your time.
She's genius.
Is an amazing woman, and she forever has changed my life, the way I look at dance, and even how I create. She's
And
changed.
how did you get to the point where you were assisting her? Because it sounds like when you explain her and explain you guys are kind of kindred spirits. Like you're on this quest to get better, but knowing that the technique it's not just a tendu. There's so much more to it, and you can keep expounding on it. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. She's honestly become one of my best friends in the whole entire world, and she's become kind of my confidant, I think, too. And how I think we relate is that, I mean, from the moment I came to her, we could sit and talk about technique for hours and just talk about it. Because what I love about technique is that, like I tell students often, technique is like choreography. how you use your foot, how you use your leg directly affects how you do choreography or how choreography looks on your body. And it affects how the line radiates from a piece of your body, or how the energy works within and out of your body as you're moving. So it adds this whole new dynamic to choreography, and also it's a means to make your body safe and make you last longer as a dancer.
Now, with Paula Morgan training, do you still assist her, and do you still keep in touch with her?
I do. Well, I trained with her for a good 8 years, and it was hard to get in her door. I worked my face off to get in with her, actually.
Yeah.
Because at the time she wasn't taking any more students, and so basically I just stalked her for a month and called every day and showed up at every master class she taught until she said, okay, I'll take you as a student. And then I honestly think she fell in love with me on the first day.
We won't say anything.
We won't say anything.
Yeah.
So I trained with her for a while, and then she needed an assistant, and we got along so well that she was like, why don't you come with me? And I traveled with her to Canada assisting her. I went to Italy with her and I assisted her. I went with her on convention she was on Adrenaline. I think at the time she still does some cities with them. I assisted her there. And then I started to teach more than I was even before I was with her. Because before I was with her, I was teaching. But when I started training with her, I started to teach even more.
Got it.
Because I felt like I was improving so much and I was learning so much, I wanted to share that
totally.
with other dancers. Yeah.
That makes sense. Is that how you got to Adage at the studio that you're at now?
It is, actually. I was...
And I'm sorry, before you go, where's Adage again?
Okay, so Adage Dance Center is located in Laverne, California, and I am the technical director there, and I also am one of the main competition choreographers. I've been there for 11 years.
Yeah.
And I've already trained, a generation or two.
Probably two, right?
Two generations of dancers that have come out of there and gone to college for dance or work professionally. And I...
There it is.
Yeah, there's the website. Great.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of the work I did there, or I've done there, and I am continually doing there. I'm still there now. I started there as a once-a-week teacher, just a couple of jazz classes.
Got it.
And the owner, Allison Gladney, who is now one of my closest friends.
She's fantastic.
She's the sweetest spirit ever.
You guys have created such an incredible brand. Like, it's really, really exciting to see you guys teach, for sure.
She's such a talented woman, and I was there within my first month, she looked at the work I was doing in my jazz class, and she was like, wow, you are really changing my dancers with just the 1 day a week you're here. What if you take over as technical director and you come 2 or 3 times a week? And so then I started coming more, and at first I was nervous. I wasn't sure if that was something I wanted to do because I was still actively dancing a lot at the time. And then Paula actually was like, she's like, Richard, I think you're a talented teacher and I think you're a talented choreographer and I think you should take this opportunity.
That's awesome.
And I think that you should use the Adage Dance Center as your experiment, if you will, to see if you can learn to sharpen your teaching ability and if you can create a generation of dancers and learn how to build a dancer from the ground zero up to graduating and moving on as a professional.
Right. And you guys have a really, really talented staff. Like, I mean, like Eddie Garcia was my teacher, and you and Allison,
Eddie Garcia.
How is he doing? He's such a good teacher. He's so fantastic.
He's awesome. And, I remember when I was, in high school and when I would be taken to the Edge Performing Arts Center where he teaches, I would take his class, and where I teach now, which we can talk about later. But I would take his class and I would be like in awe. I was like, oh my God, there is the Eddie Garcia.
Yeah.
Like his class is like packed.
Well, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson,
he toured with Michael,
J-Lo,
Janet. He worked with everybody. He was on Saved by the Bell, for those of you who remember that.
Yeah.
And he, so I would be like just in awe in his class, and then I end up, meeting him because he teaches at Adage, and it's incredible because we spend a lot of time together, and he's become one of my really good friends.
He's a really good friend. Yeah,
He's
a good guy.
He's
yeah, good guy.
And he's so much fun. But other talented teachers there, Zoe Totopoulos, one of my good friends, teaches at Adage, super talented.
What's that young man's name?
Quentin Perone.
Yeah,
he teaches there. He's amazing.
Good. Yeah, he's good.
Monique Crooks, another teacher there. So we have a great staff. And a guy by the name of Zach that's new, that's not actually on the website yet, but he will be soon. So is he from Canada.
He's from Canada, okay.
Yeah, he's new. So anyway, it's great, and I'm still there, and I love it. So I've been there, and I've been honing my craft, and I feel like Paula was right. She was absolutely right, because I feel like not only have I been learning over this course of time how to teach and become a better teacher, I've learned about what dancers need at certain points in their dance training.
Correct. Totally.
What do you teach to a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old versus a 12-year-old or a 17-year-old, and how you relay that and how you can tweak it so that they understand it.
Yeah.
And with every generation, I just get better. And so to answer your question about, am I still with Paula? Yes. I don't train with her as a dancer as much anymore, but, I oftentimes will go there and we'll just talk about teaching. And I've also done her certification programs. She has a certification program for teachers that would like to be certified in her technique. And I'm certified through her level 3.
That's cool.
And I've done the level 4 certification course already. And she's even sent me out a couple of times to teach at places her technique where she needed somebody to go because she had another booking or something. Only a couple of times I've done that for her, but she's done so much for me. I'm so thankful.
That's
Paula
great.
Morgan.
That's great.
Yeah.
It seems like though it's kind of becoming a topic on all of our shows that you have to put the time in. You got to put the time in.
Yeah.
And I feel like people want to teach or choreograph because they think it's fun. But the kids are in your hands. Like you're shaping them for the future. So whatever you say, do, act like in front of them, like it really affects them. And I feel like she was right, because you can sit in a class and learn how to teach all you want. But you can't really become a good teacher until you're actually in the room on a consistent basis teaching.
It's true. And it's funny because I was thinking about this on the way here today as I was driving. I remember when I finally got into dance class and I would watch, my teachers, with the music on or the ballet teacher give the combination, and I would think, wow, that looks so just glamorous and like so much fun, and you just give the combination, you get to watch them do it, and this just must be all the time so much fun. And it is fun and it's so fulfilling. But I think that now I really appreciate when I look at other teachers how much work goes into what it is that we do.
To be a good teacher, yeah, for
like
sure.
it's a lot of work,
Yeah.
and it's so gratifying.
It is.
But it's a lot of prep work and constant energy and learning.
Totally. Remember we spoke about earlier when I said there was a moment where I was like, I love being on stage. This is amazing. I want to do this forever. But I remember there being a moment where I was teaching because I always taught like on a consistent basis, but it wasn't to the point where, when you spend 2 to 3 years with one student, it's a completely different relationship than when you see them once a week and then they do the recital and they leave.
Oh, yeah.
And I found so much more fulfillment seeing what I taught somebody come to life than me on stage learning somebody's choreography, doing it over and over and over again in the show. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. That I feel the same. I feel exactly the same way. What I love is being in class, whether I'm in class with a student I've had for a few years or I'm doing a master class somewhere with a bunch of students. I love those moments where I give a correction or a tip or something, and not to quote Oprah, but I'm a fan. She talks about that aha moment where the light bulb goes on.
Yeah.
I love it when the whole room, all of a sudden, everybody just goes, whoop.
Oh, yeah.
And there's that breath, and everybody's gotten something at exactly the same time. Like, I live for those moments.
Me too, yeah.
Whether it's one dancer or 50 or 100,
Totally.
I don't care.
Totally.
That's where the rush is for me.
And I think you've gained so much notoriety as a technician, but your choreography is fantastic too.
You're so nice. Yours is ridiculous.
I appreciate that, but I mean, like,
you
you won industry dance awards, like the industry dance award. You're now starting to choreograph for other, socialite dancers and stuff. Like, you're really starting to make your mark as a choreographer. You're teaching at the Edge in Hollywood now.
Yeah, what I've loved about being at Adage too is it's opened a lot of opportunities for me to grow as a choreographer along with being a teacher, because when you're training students and you're working with them consistently, they also learn your style really well. And so it's been really cool to be able to, over the 11 years, do sometimes 15 new pieces a year,
Totally.
for Adage alone.
Yes, for sure.
And I think, because I've choreographed a lot of competition stuff over the years, I kind of think that competition world for a choreographer is a really great training ground, because at competition, people are sitting in the audience sometimes for 24 hours and they've seen a million routines. So how are you going to put a routine out there to make them all of a sudden go, oh, I want to watch this one dance? And over the years, I've really tried to learn and grow in movement, but also in how do I get people's attention when it's almost impossible to get it.
In a small amount of time too. And because I've had some dancers who now want to teach come to me and talk about, hey, I really want to teach, or I want to choreograph competition numbers. And I don't know what you think, but I think competition choreography is an art form in itself, over and above just concert choreography or just doing a show or something, because like you said, people have been sitting there for 14, 20 hours, whatever, however long they've been there. And you have 2.5 minutes to make them feel something and emotionally connect with whatever it is that you're talking about. And you have to bring out the strengths in all of the dancers who you're working with.
Yeah.
And I feel like yourself, Mark Meismer, what's the lady at Just Plain Dancing?
Mandy and Terry Schulke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shannon Mather, like all these different choreographers. When you see somebody who has consistent good choreography, like not like, oh, I got a bunch of good kids and I made a good number, but consistently make good numbers, whoever's standing in front of them, even Robert Duran at Dance Place.
Oh, yeah.
When you do that, you really show that you have the chops to do it. Not just, I got a cool song and I got some good dancers and I made a piece.
Oh, yeah.
It's an art form.
Every year you bring it and you bring it and you bring it.
Yeah.
And that in itself takes a lot of creativity and a lot of work.
Right. And over levels, too. Not just the best seniors. Like, you're working with, we're going to see Brooklyn here in a few minutes, but like smaller, petite juniors, like, and all the way up to senior. That's an art form.
It really does take a lot of, time, effort, and allowing yourself to get to know your dancers, and I think to also really see them for what they are and what they can be. I think that's what you mean about, if you are an awesome teacher too, it helps you be a better choreographer, because you know what it is, how it is you can help them to get to the level.
Do you think there's a difference between a choreographer and a teacher? Do you think there's a difference?
I feel like there can be sometimes, but I feel like to choreograph, in some way you have to be able to teach well. Because you have to relate your choreography, whether they're going to copy your movement or you have to describe to them the motivation. There is some kind of instruction. It can't all be just monkey see, monkey do, I think.
True, totally.
And so I definitely think that there is. And I love choreographing. I love it. It's kind of like the payoff for me, like icing on the cake, because I teach so much technique, and I've been lucky, like you said, to have been nominated for the Industry Dance Award and won in 2014, and then was nominated again in 2015.
And Matt, can we see that? Let's take a look at that. That number was amazing, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it was so cool. And it was the first year that it was up in LA.
Avalon,
Yeah,
because before that, I was nominated for a Car TV award.
yeah.
But that was when it was a different format, and it was in Vegas.
It was in Vegas.
It was
I
in
remember
Vegas.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was there,
yeah.
and that was great too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was super awesome.
Yeah.
But we were at the Industry Dance Awards. It was so much fun. Tyson was there.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah,
Both years.
that was so
And we had a
fun.
lot of fun.
Yes.
But as I'm watching it, what the best part I think of being there, of course, winning's also always like amazing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah. That's what you're there for. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was cool to be around so many other teachers. That's me. If you getting the award.
That's cool.
I don't remember what I said, but hopefully it makes sense.
Even if it does make sense, that's cool. And then Allison's there with you, and she's so proud. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's so hard because as a studio owner, you make the whole ship come together.
Yes.
And like your number is one of 50 or 60 numbers, including solos and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I hope people realize how much time just the choreographer, the music, cutting the music, the costumes, the concept.
It's a lot.
The
This
cleaning
particular
of it.
piece was a lot of work.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because
that's so good.
And to be honest with you, just like if I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory of this, I mean, I had this song for like 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and I always wanted to use it. And this particular year, I had a group of dancers that I had for a while, but they had not danced together as a group for a long time. They were
awesome.
new. And so I thought, how can I do something to teach them a lesson about dancing together, but also to create something that was a piece of art and said something.
Yeah.
And at the time, this song that I had in my pocket for a while really spoke to me because of various things in my life that was going on. And so I...
like what? Can you kind of...
I created... I just felt like, at the time, I really wanted to burst out of myself and some things I felt were holding me back creatively.
Like what?
I think that as a choreographer and as a teacher too, I always tell my students that I'm not perfect either, because you always strive to be perfect as a student. I think, in technically especially, and even in choreography. But the truth is, it's never gonna be perfect, never. And I think I was always so hard on myself. Like, it has to be perfect, it has to be perfect. And then I realized, you know what, there is beauty in imperfection.
Totally.
There is so much beauty in imperfection. And I felt like I wanted to release within myself the things that were holding myself back with that. I think because I started so late and I was trying to play catch up.
Totally.
I wanted to finally just go, you know what, I'm not perfect. Here I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Good or bad. I'm going to keep growing. And so I think that that's why I created...
so you stuck them in the sheet to make them try to dance together? Is that...
I wanted them to learn to dance together, and then I wanted the piece to be about them escaping something.
That's awesome.
That was kind of pulling them back. And
now as you explain it, it makes it even better.
But I was so honored to be there, and it was so inspiring to be around so many other teachers at this event.
Yes, for sure. Because for our industry, that's the Oscars. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're standing next to the best choreographers in the United States.
Oh yeah, and Paula Abdul got an award that night.
Travis Wall, like all these.
And I think
Nigel Lithgow was everybody
there
there.
that night.
Yeah.
And I remember looking around the room and seeing like the top teachers, some of the top teachers in all of the country there, because apparently the pieces that were nominated or that are nominated each year at Industry Dance Awards are out of competitions from the whole season, like 10 major competitions.
Yeah.
So we're talking about thousands and thousands of numbers. So to look around and see so many teachers that were so talented and had worked so hard was amazing. And I made so many great connections with people and learned a lot and shared great experiences with them. And if you don't know what the Industry Dance Awards is about, also it's about raising money for the Circle of Hope Dancers Foundation.
Totally.
Which is they raise money to help dancers who are fighting battle with cancer. And they do amazing things.
Yeah,
with their
Noah
foundation.
Lands is kind of started
Yes.
that. it's really good because the community of dance is so strong, and it's good to see it move towards something that's not just, hey, I want to be famous or I want to win a competition. It's let's all band together and make something really special. So it's really cool. So shout out to Noah Lands and all you guys over at CAR. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and if anybody out there wants to know more about Circle of Hope Dancers, circleofhopedancers.com is the website, I think.
Yes,
so just
that's awesome.
But industry dance was like awesome.
Okay.
And way too much fun.
Okay. Well, let's go on and take a break.
Okay.
All right.